Today we're going to take a little walk down memory lane because not enough people remember exactly and precisely how gay marriage was legalized. There is a myth, there's a tall tale, there is a mythos that gay marriage has been holistically evolved into our social consciousness and that we now all generally accept it as is. However, if you were to actually look at the actual history of gay marriage and its adoption into society at large, it comes from the state of California, but not in the way you are being told. Now, the big proposition that we have in regard to gay marriage is known as Proposition 8. However, it started long before that with, as you can see on the screen, Proposition 22 in year 2000. Now, as we read here, Proposition 22 was a law enacted by California voters in March 2000 stating that marriage is to be between one man and one woman. Now, in November of 2008, 8 years later, Proposition 8 was also passed by voters, again allowing only marriage between one man and one woman. It tells you about who initiated it, who started it, yada yada. But what's important here is that this proposition passed in California. Meaning, most people, nearly all the people who voted, which was around 61%, decided, yeah, we want to keep marriage between men and women. It was not the, shall we say, the diverse result that the Californians wanted. However, it was kicked back by the, that they decided to revoke it. They decided that your leaders in charge, the government, the California Supreme Court said, no, we're going to kick it back. We're going to say that we don't want to allow this. And here's what's interesting about 22. Because the act was an ordinary statute, it could be struck down if it were inconsistent with the state constitution. Now, it wasn't inconsistent with the state constitution in any way, shape, or form. But they say it was struck down in a state Supreme Court ruling in 2008 after Proposition 8 had already been passed. So what the fuck? How exactly did this happen? Because, well, let's take a look at Prop 8 first, which is probably where we should go next. And here we are at Prop 8, the big kahuna, the big fish, as it were. Proposition 8, informally known as Prop 8, was a California ballot proposition and a state constitutional amendment, which was required because apparently they kicked it back saying you can't do this unless it completely doesn't contradict what we interpret the California Constitution to say, meaning you can't discriminate on any basis. So Prop 8 decided, okay, so let's actually change the Constitution. Let's make the Constitution itself say that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. And mind you, this is 8 years later. 8 years later, after debate, after discussion, after having it out and putting this in the public consciousness, we'll have another say. We'll vote again. We'll see what the people want. And it passed by an extra million votes and some change, with 52% of the people who voted saying, yeah, we want traditional marriage. So now we're here in 2022, and gay marriage has been legalized for quite some time with California as precedent. So the real question is, how the fuck did this happen? Because we all crossed our I's, dotted our T's, and made sure that we voted for the society that we wanted, which was a society where the biological realities of men and women were not ignored. Seems pretty basic. So how did this happen? What was the reasoning to all of this drama? And here it is. The reason is that they wrote that exceptions to the Equal Protection Clause could not be made by any majority, since its whole purpose was to project minorities against the will of a majority. Now, this goes back to the myth of tyranny of the majority, which is inherently false because all tyrannies are enacted by minorities. Not kidding. Now, legal challenges to Prop 8 were presented by opponents quickly after its approval. Following affirmation by the state courts, 2 same-sex couples filed a lawsuit against the initiative in the United States District Court for Northern District of California in the case P v. Schwarzenegger, later Hollingsworth v. Perry. In August 2010, Judge Von Walker, your elite ruler, ruled that the amendment was unconstitutional under both the Due Process and Equal Protection Clauses of the 14th Amendment, since it purported to remove rights from a disfavored class only with no rational basis. Now, if you're hearing this for the first time, you should be very confused, because what do they mean by removing rights if gays had never been able to marry before until very recently, which I believe was around like 2014. So how the hell were gay people, how could you remove a right that didn't exist, is essentially the question. And what we have to understand historically is that gay marriage licenses had not been issued prior to 2000, prior to any of this. So what actually happened? How did this become possible? We'll show you. Here we have the San Francisco 2004 same-sex weddings. The San Francisco 2004 same-sex weddings took place between February 12th and March 11th of 2004. After San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom, currently the governor running the state into the ground, directed the city-county clerk to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. California Attorney General Bill Lockyer and a number of interest groups sued to end the practice, and by the end of it all, 4,000 such licenses were issued before the California Supreme Court ordered a halt to the practice. The legal dispute over the issuance of marriage licenses to same-sex couples led to the 2008 in remarriage cases ruling by the California Supreme Court, which legalized same-sex marriage in California. So let me summarize this for you. A question was raised of whether or not we want gays to marry, or whether or not marriage should remain between a man and a woman. The people voted. Well, no, not long before the people voted, there was a debate. There was heated, contentious back and forth between all megaphones of society, from the dining room table to every talk show host in the state, at least, and across the nation. And then the people of California went to vote and said, no, we want marriage between a man and a woman. Full stop, no holds barred. Then your elites say that's not good enough. You need something in the state constitution that says only between a man and a woman, so that it doesn't contradict. All right, fine. We will do that. We will go ahead and say, we will go to the state constitution itself and say, we want marriage between a man and a woman. The reason that Prop 8 was rejected was because some asshat named Gavin Newsom, current governor of California, said, we're going to issue these marriage licenses anyway, despite the people not voting for it, despite the fact that no one wanted it, no one fought for this, and when the will of the people was brought to our attention, they said, don't do this. we're gonna give the licenses anyway, and then when you do the right thing and amend the state constitution, we're gonna say no, you can't do it because we went ahead and did it anyway without you, and you can't take it back. We can't take it back. We can't remove rights that we've already given, when it should have never been a damn right in the first place, because you already knew the will of the people when you did it. The idea that homosexuality and gay marriage has been more accepted since is not natural. It's not something you wanted. It's not something we asked for. It was consistent pressure and oppression from the elites, basically kicking you in the face saying, no, you picked wrong, pick again, until you pick the one that we feel you should choose. Except they didn't even ask for your vote the third time. This is the actual real history of gay marriage in the United States, from California to trickle down to the rest of the nation. And no one's going to tell you that story because they should be ashamed of it. That's it, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.